how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome. We're on, are we? Good, very good.
Could not hear through these beanies, mate.
I think it was was it your beanie or the ears anyway?
I'm not sure what it was. I'm like, what's happening?
Welcome to episode number 16 of The Take with Willie and Iain. William, welcome to my studio.
Nah, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad I can hear you. We are wearing beanies this evening. Would you like to tell everyone why we are wearing beanies and what you did today?
Yeah, this morning at 11:30, everybody was at NRL headquarters to raise money for brain cancer. Mark Hughes, which is a great cause. He's been doing it since he got diagnosed, and what a great person. What a great person. And I think it reflects what sort of person he is to the amount of people that turned up and the quality of people that turned up. You know, like you had some of the best like sports people in there. You had, I don't know, a bunch of fucking influencers who I didn't really know, but they were there for the right reason. It was good, mate. It was good. We just walked from there to all the way to the Opera House.
The King Box Kerr, he was there.
Yeah, the Box was there. Joey was there. The Big Dell was there with his oiled up calves, with his sleeveless shirt. He thought it was a summer. I was like, dude, the sun's out, but it's still fucking cold. Yeah, but you had a heap of people in the fitness industry, the sporting industry, elderly, young kids, people walking their kids. Mate, it was great. And it was, you know, Mark Hughes has been doing some great things since he got diagnosed. He's fine now, but like it's, you know, it's the awareness, you know, that he's promoting. The young kid from Cronulla with brain cancer, and some other young kids and people all around the world with it. Mate, what a great cause. Just a simple beanie does, and it's awesome, mate.
Are they doing that round again? Is this the round this week?
It's Men's Health Week. This week, you know, so it's very important. You know, there's a lot of stats down there. You're obviously in that area, so you know a lot more than me. But what they did this morning was great. It was probably, I think, I'm not sure, but probably 300 to 400 people there.
I know more than you about everything.
I know.
If you can just put a line through, there's what I know, there's what you know, and I'm just there.
I know that.
Anyway,
yeah,
I look good in a beanie too.
Yeah, you look awesome in that beanie. Oi, don't let anyone else tell you any different.
Who's telling me something different?
I don't know. The producer's looking at you sideways.
I don't know.
Zig's looking at you sideways. Henry's there going, you look like a dick. But you look cool.
I actually got a haircut specifically. My young bloke played in the state championships rugby over the weekend.
How'd he go?
He went all right. I don't want to be proud dad, but he got
good. Be proud. He's going to be a good kid, mate.
He got player of the team, which was very good. He got the match ball signed by the kids.
Didn't they sign his ball?
Yeah, they signed his ball.
You said to me, that's awesome, mate. That's good that they do that.
It was nice.
You know, like just, you know, people that appreciate that kind of stuff.
It was actually really good.
Kids, mate.
It was down at Camden, and let me tell you, the setup down at Camden, they're all volunteers, and it's a wonderful, wonderful setup. It was, you know, it's a beautiful ground, and they got through all of the games without a hitch, and everybody's giving up their time for free, and you know, it's really good to see. Actually, there was just this, because it's Camden's almost in the country. There was just this faint.
It's just I was in Canberra last week.
Smell of manure, and I was like, there's player agents here.
Yeah, there is, mate. Back to men's health. Just a couple of little stats for people. You know, we lose 6 men per day to suicide. More men died by suicide in 2019 than the entire Australian road toll of 2019 and 20 combined. Men are 75% more likely to commit suicide. On average, 1 in 8 men will experience depression, and 1 in 5 men will experience anxiety at some stage of their life. So this is a very important week for us men.
It is.
You know, so it's great with Mark Hughes doing his kind of thing coincides with Men's Health Week. So, you know, people that are struggling at home, men's health, talk to people. We're always open if you want to come to us. Take with Willie Mason and Ian. You know, we're always open. You want advice, you want guidance or anything like that. We're always here. You know, like we can sit up here and we can talk a lot of shit every week, but like we're very aware of stuff like that. So, you know, like don't be afraid to speak out and speak your mind and what's happening in your life, because, you know, I know traditionally men are supposed to be tough and all that sort of shit, but times are changing. It's not 1960, 2021.
Well said, William. Speaking of someone who has, I guess, come out and done something very brave, is Boyd Cordner officially announced his retirement from rugby league. He's had a wonderful career.
Great career.
But I think what his career now will be remembered by, and very similar to Jake Friend, is the strength that they had to come out and give away. I mean, Boyd Cordner's almost at the height of his career, really. Yeah. He's a New South Wales captain, he's Australian captain, and he's walked away from all of that with, I guess, his health as the main concern.
I love that. I feel sorry for Boyd. I keep in contact with him frequently. He's a good friend of the show. He was on last year. And he is one of the fucking best people you'll ever meet in your life. Regardless of rugby league, regardless of anything like that. You know that as well. Like the people that he come across Boyd would never say one bad word about that kid. I've known him since he was 16. 16 years old. This young, up-and-coming kid. He had a beard pretty much the same as what he had now when he was 16. And he's a man. He was always a man-child. He's just a big, big dude and was just an animal. And people don't understand what this kid has gone through, the mental anguish, what's happened in the last, just say, 6 months. You know what I mean? Just imagine 6 months ago, like I always think about, I'm 29, just say his age, pretty much equivalent of what he's achieved apart from the premierships.
Yeah.
And then you telling me that I have to retire? Like, I never got dealt those cards. And I can't fathom it because I was never ready to retire at that age because I knew I had a lot more to give. And he'd be thinking that as well. He's got so much more to give. He can play on. Current Roosters captain, New South Wales Australian captain, leader of men, beautiful club, great, successful club, all that kind of stuff. And then you're talking to your partner, talking to your wife, or this and that, your father and that, like the stuff that he would have went through for months to get to this decision. You don't wake up and go, I'm done, guys. Let's have a press conference. I don't feel like playing anymore. Players play. I always say that. We want to play. But like it's what he's gone through in the last 6 months is unbelievable. No one will ever experience it. Like we can talk about it, but I haven't been through it. Guys like Jake Friend and that have been through it, but the decision he's come through, I'm actually really happy for him. He can sit back. I messaged him. I said, look, Boyd, I can't, I'm paraphrasing, I can't explain, put into words what sort of player and person you are. Regardless, your life has just begun. Blah, 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 like, let's, we'll have a good chat, have a good laugh, and, something like about, those words. But I just wanted to, sort of congratulate him, but congratulate him on his career and his decision. It was hard to because, he's probably still raw. Do you know what I mean? I find he's made a man's decision.
I think watching the footage of when he originally said that he was going to be back, they said round 12 he'd be back. Then it got pushed to round 14. When it started getting pushed, I started to think, I don't know, there's something going on. He may not feel right to go back. The fact that he was as emotional as he was when he gave that press conference probably suggests that, he came to the decision without anything other than the right thing in his mind. He knew 100% that was the right thing to do. He wasn't upset that the decision was made. He was upset that he had to, I guess, walk away from his teammates and from the club. And, it's a very brave thing to do.
That would be very hard. You know what I mean? I'd just say, I want to know what the testing and everything like that. And we don't know what he felt like. I don't know what he felt like. What would he feel like mentally? We don't understand because we're not Boyd Cordner. We don't. I never got hit in the head as many times as Boyd did. You know what I mean? I didn't cop those concussions as a young kid. You know what I mean? Like he's copped a fair few concussions. So it's like, it was just, it broke my heart. I was crying watching his press conference. It was a shattering, mate, because he's one of the it's NRL fraternity. You see one of your good mates going through that kind of stuff. It's fucking emotional.
Looking at realistic, there's been a few retirements, around, like Jake Friend and Boyd Cordner are the big ones. But if you look through the year as well, you've had Ryan Madison sit out for a period of time. You've had Pappenhausen sit out. Wade Graham he's taking 4 to 6 weeks off because of it. One thing about the crackdown, these sort of, I guess, new outlooks on concussion and taking concussion more seriously and the clubs accepting that it was something that they had a duty of care with the players for, that's over and above what's happening with this crackdown, because realistically the clubs are the ones making the decisions with the player that the player's had concussions and he needs to sit out. So if you add that into the fact that the crackdown's there, I don't know, who's more responsible for the player welfare? Is it the overarching, the NRL, or is it the clubs and the players themselves? I tend to think it's the clubs and the players.
I'll just digress a little bit. And I like with the stuff that is happening right now, it makes me wonder, like the era that I played in, what would have happened? Guys were copping headshots every week. Blokes were getting up. Like, should we have taken 4 to 6 weeks off? Should have been 10 weeks off for us. You know, guys like Mark O'Mealy was fucking nearly concussed every single game.
You should have, Will.
That's what I'm saying. I honestly wonder, and I worry about my mental health and my brain and stuff like that, because if Boyd is getting retired as a 29-year-old, I know for a fact that blokes were copping fucking severe hits and nothing was done about it. Nothing. So that's what it really makes me question shit. I'm like, for fuck's sake, why did they let us go? Why did they let us beat the fuck out of each other and just not even care? Blokes on the ground, like Andrew Johns was saying, he's like, he was getting hit more, you know, him making tackles, knocked out. Like he reckons 20 plus concussions knocked out, not concussions, knocked out, carried off, still allowed to play. What the fuck they let us play for?
So it is a good question. I think
we're only talking about 2000s. We're talking about the 90s and 80s and 70s. We're talking about the 2000s, 2010s, and they still let this shit slide.
Well, let's talk about that from the perspective of two of the greatest bravery stories in rugby league. And rugby league is a tough sport, there's no question, but the two greatest bravery stories are two South players in Sattler with the broken jaw.
Fuck, it's hot, sorry.
And Burgess.
Beanie's making me hot.
It's a nice looking beanie.
Yeah.
Burgess in 2014 with the broken cheekbone, right? And they're sort of, those
7
stories
years ago.
are told. They're told as if these are the toughest men in the world. Can you imagine now, in the new era, there's no way they're letting blokes play with a broken jaw.
Well, what is the difference? We're not talking about the 80s. Like, what's the difference?
People
it's
know
eyes
now.
on. Is
Yeah.
everyone's more aware of it? Like,
People
what is
more
the
aware.
difference now between from here right now, 2021, to when we were playing in the 2000s, 2010s? What the fuck is it? Why do they care about these players more now than when we were playing?
They're
I don't
literally talking
understand
about
that.
7 years ago with Burgess.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why they don't. They didn't care about us that much.
Is that how you feel?
I actually really feel like that. Like when I look at this shit now and I'm watching Boyd Cordner retire, I'm watching Jake Friend retire, I'm seeing a lot of these blokes fucking scattered. I'm hearing old players come out saying they played in the 80s and that, like their life is fucking twisted and this and that and they've done this and that. Like, you know, like why didn't they care about us in the 2000s? Why?
Ex-Parramatta and I think he played for Gold Coast, the Seagulls, I think they were. Brett Horsnell, he's come out in the
Brett
press.
Horsnell come out and he's like what's I don't understand, like, what is the difference between that time and now? Is it awareness? Is it they've done a lot of research on it? Because you know what? Those players in the 70s and 80s in the NFL, they're the ones that were still in the NFL. Like, so they knew what was going on with CTE and shit like that. Or did we just hide it because it wasn't relevant? Like, that's what I'm looking at going, what the fuck is going on? Like, why did we not get cared about?
Well, do you reckon, if you look at, I mean, that era, and that's definitely the era, when we were coming through, the era was definitely, if you're injured, you play on, and if you don't, like if you play through injury, you're tough, and if you don't play through injury, you're a sook, you're never going to make it. So if you look at, I guess, the current era, they probably haven't come through with that same thing. If they've got an injury, they probably go, oh, well, I'm going to go to the physio, I'm going to do this. It's a different mindset as well, don't you reckon?
I only retired 6 years ago, Ian. And that same mentality was the same shit.
Yeah, I guess
that was
that's
going
true.
on in the 2000s, mate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden now we've like flipped it around and gone, people are retiring here and there, people are doing this and that. I'm like, why didn't they really care about all of us when we were playing? Did they not care? Did they just think, oh, well, it's just part of the game? I signed up to play that game. I don't care. I take all accountability for everything. I'm worried about my mates that copped a hell of a lot more hits than I did. The knockouts and stuff like that. You know, like they didn't care about that. Just keep playing, guys. No one gives a shit. You know what I mean?
I actually can't remember you getting knocked out.
I'm fine, mate. I'm 6'5" and 115 kilos when I was playing. You know what I mean? Like I was just that couple of inches above. But it wasn't even about that. It was about the collisions. You know? I don't know. It frustrates me. Anyway, the more I hang out with ex-footballers and talk about this shit, the more angrier I get. It's probably why I'm like this now, because I was with Joey, I was with all these ex-players, and they're fucking just going, you know what? What happened to us? You know what I mean? We're talking 2000s. This is not the 70s and 80s, mate. You know what I mean? It's just like, so like, yeah, fuck it. We got good ratings and shit like that. You just, you know, that's why people like me don't give a fuck about the game, how it's run now, because of the shit that they did to us.
Well, the game has definitely changed in the last little while. And so one of the things, Trent Robinson brought it up, and we've talked about it before. And I guess when you have a situation where there's new rules, there's a lot of smart people in the game, whether it's coaches or players, they're going to work out ways to get around those rules. So people are lying down. People are trying to push for penalties. It doesn't look good for the game when you talk about players wanting to play and how you play through injury and how you get knocked out and you'd want to come straight back on. Now you got players
laying down like little pussies.
Down. Yeah, that's right.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
I love Jack Hetherington, but people are going to use that to the advantage because they know how much of an advantage it is getting a penalty, getting out of your own end. 4 fucking tackle, you jammed in your 20, 30 meter mark. You're sort of going to go, oh, if I can sort of help the team. So you're thinking team first. You are not thinking about yourself. You think team first. Can I get out of this area? We get a penalty. Next minute, we're in their half. You know what I mean? And it sucks that this is happening. But they've put these rules in place and people and players are going to exploit it. What are they whinging about? What are they doing? Like, you put these rules in place, we're going to fucking exploit it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what players do. It doesn't matter what rules you put in. We will exploit everything that you do. The wrestling, you'll take it to that fucking nth degree. All this sort of shit that they're trying to do now. Of course they do. You practice that shit at training. You do. You talk about that shit before games. What happens if if you're in your 40 meter, you get hit in the head. You know the rules. If you get hit in the head right now, you get a penalty.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how hard it is or whatever. Hit to the head, doesn't matter. Jack Hetherington did the exact same thing. He's like, hey, regardless, you sort of take that out of the equation. He's big, strong, fast, aggressive, front rower. Traditionally, shouldn't do that sort of shit. Fuck it. I'll get a penalty right in front of your post.
Yeah.
So you think about the team first. I want 2 points. I want to get a penalty out of our yardage because we're getting flogged all game. You know what I mean? It's momentum switches. And that's what players do. You think about the team first. It's not that they're soft. It ain't this shit, but you put those rules in place, we'll fucking milk it for everything. And that's what happens. Don't put the rules in place, mate. Or get some fucking referees to look at what they're doing and oh, he's sort of faking it. He got a little scratch on the head. Get a referee who knows his shit. That's it. That's all it is. Get a referee who knows what's going on. If it's a solid hit to the head, you should have seen that shit.
If you think about a rugby league club, there's a head coach, there's 47 assistant coaches, you've got defence coach,
48.
attack, you've got a squad of 30 people. Now, in those squads of 30 people, plus the 75 coaching staff and strength and conditioning, someone's going to be smart enough to know, hello, young Henrys, someone's going to be smart enough to know how to exploit rules. And if you've got 16 clubs, there's going to be at least 8 interpretations of how you can cheat. That's the reality of the game now. And if you bring in 5 different rule sets in 1 year, the 6 again and this and that, trying to make the game faster, you change the whole fabric of the game in one go.
And you know what's going to happen? You get middles being smart and slick. They'll try and slow the game down. You know what I mean? It's a fucking wicked, crazy, fast game in the middle. I'm looking at play the balls and hits and stuff like it is aggressive in the middle. It's hard. And you're going to look for everything to exploit it. Everything. As I said before, like every single rule change, players will exploit. And if you haven't played the game or been in the trenches and shit, you wouldn't fucking know. But I know. You know what I mean? Because I know I've been involved in teams, and it's like you're going to exploit everything that you do. Every rule change that the refs come out with, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And so if you look at the way things are now, you've got players lying down, you've got situations on the weekend where my twin Cameron Munster kicked out for about the 3rd time.
Yeah, like
and
money.
He gets a fine. Now, what's worse is if you've got the eyes on the game and you're a parent and you go, all right, well, there's the odd high shot here, versus now you're allowed to kick someone, you're allowed to stub an elbow, and they're letting go these things that look grubby,
cheap shots,
because a couple of blokes are slipping off high tackles. The whole issue is consistency.
Exactly. I've been saying that for years. Just be consistent. If people are doing grubby stuff and you want to clean the game up, like people standing on people like that instance, it's like, can you just penalise and send him for 10 or do something, or $1,500 fine?
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about a fine when you're a player.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there's match payments at what, 30,000 now, 35,000 or something?
He's getting that in Origin about 40
That's what I'm saying. He did that in Origin. You can do, that's what I'm saying. Players in Origin do not give a shit. You make a player, you fine a player, will not hurt him. You make a player miss a game, that'll kill him. You know what I mean? They're not doing that, mate, because they don't want big dogs like Munster out of game 2. There's an agenda all the time. People don't understand that sort of shit. I get it because I've been in the game. I know what it's about. Just so we talk about game 2, you don't think it's fucking... You think... I guarantee some person from New South Wales will be sent for 10.
You reckon?
Of some dumb shit, so they want to even the state... They want to even it up so the ratings are bigger in game 3. Do you think they want a dead rubber?
No,
it's a business. Understand, the NRL is a business. Channel 9, Fox, business. It's all about ratings. It's $1 billion entity. Don't think they're not trying to even the shit up. So when you see in game 2 and you see lopsided bullshit referee decisions against New South Wales, because they're going to do everything they can to get Queensland overboard.
Controversial.
Fuck it. It's the way it is. I've been involved in the game too long enough to fucking even think that doesn't... Don't be stupid enough. Think that doesn't happen.
So what would you have given Cristiano Ronaldo Munster for his double kick in? Like, do you reckon that's a genuine suspension, or do you reckon
I honestly don't. I honestly don't. I don't think it was intentional. It was just like you trying to get up, clear the ruck, get away from my legs. I'm trying to get up and play the ball. So there's an interpretation there. Did he try and stomp on him? It wasn't like Adam McDougall stomping on Tubes in 97.
Yeah.
It wasn't that shit. It was a person trying to get up. You know, like, you don't understand when he's trying. You can't say that you actually try to stomp on his head.
No.
You know, like, it's just, they're the ones that will slide.
I love Cameron Munster so much. I cannot believe they even fined him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was with big money after the other game. It was after the first game. He was shocked, and they laugh about that shit. Gets 1,500, shit like that. 1,500. Wipe your ass with that shit when you're playing. Don't care.
And that's what people need to remember. It doesn't come. They don't go to the bank and get out $1,500 in $1 bills and then hand it over. It comes out of their contract.
You come from a man who's been fined $100,000 in 1 year.
That was impressive.
I didn't even notice it.
That was the best.
I didn't notice it.
No,
honestly, you're talking about 1,500 to a bloke who's on $1 million a year.
Yeah,
dude, come on. Like, it's embarrassing.
It's like when you get parking fines. They still hurt. You got to pay them.
I just love the bullshit that goes on with Origin, man.
All right, the other thing that I want to talk about with you, William Marshall Mason, and I've been told that I need to be very specific on segments here, so I'm going to split this right into a nice clear segment for the producer.
I didn't even know we did segments. We just talk shit.
No, well, apparently we're going to from now on. So the mid-season transfer fees.
Ooh.
How do we feel about that? What I want to talk about, people talk about loyalty to clubs. People talk about, the players are just in it for the money. Look at Big Ken Momolo from the Warriors. He's been offloaded to the Tigers mid-season. Now, anyone who thinks that he made that decision himself needs to have a look at the game he just played, where he scored 3 tries and he was literally in tears on the field. Now, that is not a bloke that wants to leave a club, but he's been pushed off. There you go. Have a go at West Tigers. How do you feel about mid-season transfers?
There's good and bad in everything. There is. I can understand it from club's perspective. If someone's underperforming, then I can explain it if a person's not happy. But when I'm saying the person's not happy, he's the one who gets crucified in the media. You know what I mean? Like, where Ken Romalo, he's pretty much unwanted, but they say he's getting traded. He's on a 2-year deal. All this sort of shit. They control the narrative in the media, and the Warriors do the same thing. The Warriors are controlling that sort of media, but it's bullshit. He's unwanted. He hasn't performed this year. He hasn't. He's been a great player. A couple of years ago, he was best winger in the comp. Understand this, dude. The Warriors' circumstances. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing away from his home country. They're stuck in Central Coast. You cannot be focused like for another year. You know what I mean? Like, understand where he's coming from. He went home last year.
Yeah.
He obviously wants to go home. He misses his family. He had a kid. You know what I mean? And that was frowned upon when he went home last year.
Not within the group, but obviously outside, people are like, oh,
Yeah.
he's not
But
committed.
not within the group.
Yeah.
Of course not within the group. Of course,
love
go
him.
home. But and then he's not playing to his potential this year. And a lot of the Warriors players are. You know what I mean? Next minute, he's not wanted, all that kind of stuff. But if you're a gun player and then you want out because you're not happy with the coach or how the club's going, whack. You are the worst person in the world. Where's the loyalty? Oh, my God. Weren't you supposed to be loyal? People, have a look at the flip side of the coin, Kemba Marlowe, and then have a look at the other side. When you're killing it and you want out of that shit club, then you're the worst person in the world. There's two sides of the story all the time.
The interesting thing I think with this particular transfer is that he signed a deal, right, a mid-season deal. So I would assume that the Warriors are paying part of his freight to the Tigers. I don't know that for sure. But
Of course they are.
what happens and he'd been in Reggie's, or I don't think the Warriors play Reggie's, but he's been sitting not playing first grade for a few weeks, got dropped on form. If he goes out and plays, they were short of outside backs. The Warriors have said to him, we want you to play this game and then you go. If he gets injured in that game,
And I heard there was a strong rumour that he knew that he was on the outer a couple of weeks ago, and then some outside backs got injured, and then Brownie goes, mate, do you mind playing for us, even though we don't want you? The only simple fact that he loves the brothers that were playing there, and that's the only reason why he played. He was sacrificing a lot more than this one game. He could have got injured and ruined his whole contract with the Tigers.
That's right.
But the fucking Warriors didn't care, did they?
No.
They said, go out there, Ken. Can you give us a game? We want you back, even though we're going to fucking drop you and get rid of you.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to him having the balls to do that and swallowing his pride and ego and going, all right, boys, I'm going to give him a one last effort. That's why he was crying. You know what I mean? That's why he was so emotional, because these fuckers didn't want him anyway, and you made him play. It's bullshit. Fucking hate it, mate.
It's funny, isn't it? Like, people talk about, and look, I understand there are people out there, and they are the people that essentially, the fans that go and buy the memberships and the tickets and that sort of thing, that's the lifeblood of the game. There's no question. But the pressure on the players is, people don't really understand.
Can you imagine if he'd done his ACL on the weekend? And he's risking all that because he loves the players that much.
Yep.
Full credit to Kenny. Good work. Good luck.
Did you use full credit to the boys?
No, to Ken.
Did.
I said to Kenny.
Specifics. Full credit to Ken.
To Ken.
That's our new one. Full credit to Ken.
Just to Ken. That's it.
Hi, Tiana from the Green Room podcast here. Join me with an exclusive backstage pass featuring in-depth conversations and a bunch of personal and crazy stories from around the world. With some of the biggest names in music, film, comedy, and everything in between, these definitely aren't your average interviews. Come join me in the Green Room. Presented by the Handshake Agency. Check it out at thepodcast.com.au.
Everybody should listen to the Green Room. Great show. Very good show. I'll tell you what's not good, Will.
Taking selfies while you're talking?
Oh, do you know what's sent me off-putting? Oh, and it's the worst photo ever. Sucked in for having the worst photo trying to... Anyway. Tell you what's bad, Will.
What's up?
Club games during Origin rounds.
They're pretty bad, aren't they?
Last week, it's just awful. Yeah. And do you know what annoys me as well? They name all the Origin players.
And they just fucking rest them.
And then they had no intention of playing.
Well, hey, you got to get the fans on board, mate.
Like
you
James
get the people
Tedesco,
back.
he's going to fly directly to the Gold Coast. He's not going to play. Why would he play?
Just be honest, people. Just be honest.
Why would these clubs risk in the middle of the year? And let's be honest, there's 5 teams that are at the top of the comp, and then there's a number of teams fighting for that sort of, mid 12 to 8 style, 12 to 6 sort of area.
Yeah.
Now those clubs don't have a lot of players playing Origin. So they're going to play other sides. All the top sides, why would they play their Origin players?
No.
Panthers don't care.
I don't understand that. I can totally understand not playing your players if you got a team that's stacked with like some really good juniors, like Penrith. But they've tried to rest them, but then they're losing.
But if they lose, they don't care
because they don't really care because you're in a good position, and that's what most clubs do. They try and get off to such a good start, knowing that they're going to probably lose about maybe 4 to 8 players, like with Penrith losing a lot of players. But I don't agree, man. It sucks. It does. It's silly.
The Thursday night game, and thanks again to Channel 9 and all the sides for putting the Broncos on at primetime non-stop. I know Queensland's important, but if your rugby league team wasn't shit, then the rest of us wouldn't have to put up with
It was good in the
dirt
2010s
games.
and stuff when they were killing it.
1994, 95 when they were. It's great.
Yeah.
2021, get the Broncos off my TV. They're dog shit.
And people are really often, but people in Queensland, they know the ratings. They don't stop. They don't. And it's all about ratings. It's not about the team. People need to understand that kind of stuff, man, real quick. It's all about ratings, mate.
Well, at what point do the Broncos fans say it's actually worse watching them than not watching them? And then the ratings go.
And if they're not at the game, they'll watch it on TV. You know what I mean? They just got such a massive supporter base. North Queensland do. I mean, like the Titans aren't as big, but like it just sucks. Broncos
Every week. And then, do you know who ruined that?
Seabold.
Anthony Seabold.
Seabsy.
What is he doing now? Ruining Newcastle. Do you know what? Everywhere he goes, this bloke.
Bad.
He's got. They talk about the Midas touch.
Midas touch. I was going to say that.
He's got the shit
Whatever
touch.
the other opposite of Midas is.
Shitbag touch.
Yes, I thought.
Good on you,
I
Seabs.
thought that was it.
I hope you're going well. The
He'll probably
rabbits are
fucking kill you if he sees
$1.15. I'll take you.
You take Seabs or what?
Big head. Look at the size of it. Big target. Rabbitohs will win that. So let's stop. Cowboys, Sharks. That's
Where's my sheet where I can see all the shit?
I've
Henry, fuck's
kept
sake.
that from you. The Cowboys and the Sharks. I reckon this is actually a boil over waiting to happen because the Cowboys have not been good and the Sharks are starting to warm into their work now. They've got Johnson back. They've got. I
think they're right. Oh, they just beat Penrith.
Yep.
So I think they're on the up and up. I think they went through that little bit of a really shit sort of bit where it was like 3 or 4 weeks and, players didn't know whether they were staying or going. Now, I think Moylan might be getting asked to stay. Sean Johnson knows he's going. So when people know where they stand in the club,
they can play.
St George is going through that now because Dufty, Norman, you can see seeing their efforts. It's awful because they don't really care about the club.
No.
But when you start going, shit, I still want to actually play in the NRL. I've got to actually play good because it's performance-based.
Yeah.
Then you start playing. So Cronulla went through that about, 5 weeks ago. And now they're coming through the other end. They haven't got the most talented side, but they've got a lot of talent. You know what I mean? Like just say, when I say that, not big name players.
They don't have big names.
But they got toilets.
Yeah.
And they won the comp on that.
Yeah.
So, Moylan's been playing great in the last 6 weeks. And then Sean Johnson knows what he's doing. So then, therefore, look what he's playing for. His fucking livelihood.
Yeah, that's right.
He wants to stay in the NRL. You know
and he's on 900.
And I think the Bulldogs should get him. Because I think I'm going to write this year off. I think he's still playing good football, but coming back from an Achilles rupture, he needs about 18 months off. He'll get through this year. I think the Bulldogs should sign him. He will complement Burton so well next year because he's still got a lot of talent. I think he's top 5 most talent in the NRL that ever played rugby league. I can honestly say that. His talent is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just needs to stay on the field and stay uninjured. Uninjured Sean Johnson is one of the most freakish players you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And we're pretty harsh on him sometimes because I know what he can do.
What he's capable
I know what he's capable of. But injuries hold you back. Team holds you back. But I think him playing there next year at the Bulldogs, they could do something. I honestly think they could. Honestly do.
The funny thing is, a couple of years ago, the West Tigers Reggies were they had a bigger salary cap than the Titans at that stage. The Sharks have taken over. They've got Townsend, Dugan, Fafita all running around in Reggies. What about the Reggies side?
And still getting beat.
They still get beat.
I seen Townsend up at Coffs Harbour when I was up there, and he was sitting behind me, and I was like, "What's going on? Are you injured?" And he goes, "No, man." And then, I know. I was like, "Shit, that's right. You sign with someone else, and they're never going to play it."
Never
Do you know
again.
what I mean? It's
You'll
never
play
again.
Yeah.
Only until the injury. I said, "You got a fucking short memory, haven't they?" He got him a grand final in 2016.
The Panthers against the Roosters. Now, the Panthers have got all of their players back, realistically, this week. And I just think you can't judge the Panthers on the last 2 weeks because they had literally their 7 best players out.
Yeah.
So this should be a good game. but I just think the Panthers will roll. It's at Bluebet Stadium.
Yeah, it'd be a great game if the Roosters had everyone playing.
Yeah.
It'd be great. But, yeah, the Panthers will probably fly through them.
The Roosters aren't getting enough credit, I reckon, for the amount of players that they got out. It's just phenomenal that they are even still competing at the
Trent
level
Robinson's
they're competing
not
at.
getting enough credit.
He's
Trent
such a
Robinson,
good coach.
Craig Fitzgibbon, amazing people and coaches.
Mm.
They're smart as hell. And Robbo's one of the best man managers. He's going to be a great coach for the next probably 20 to 30 years, I reckon.
Mm.
You know, like he's going to be outstanding because he's got that knack. He gets it, you know.
He's doing well. The Knights and the Warriors. The Knights have got all their players back. What's with all the stadiums? Do you know what? I just wish they weren't named after companies. I know I'm old school and Duncan McRae are doing a great job with Bluebet, but what's Bluebet's like? McDonald Jones Stadium. Do you know what I mean?
I love how you're hating on that shit.
bettingsite.com.au. You know what you need to do? You
Hey,
just
fuck
buy
sponsors
every
off
single
NRL.
stand.
Stop it. We just...
They want to buy every stadium. Do you know what? Every stadium for the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned, is bettingsite.com.au stadium. So
yeah,
the
I
Knights
agree. Or Young Henry's.
The Knights are playing the Warriors at bettingsite.com.au stadium. So they're back on home turf. They've got Ponga back, Pearce back. If they don't win this, there will be riots in the streets.
Yeah, they should win it. But like, what Ponga comes back? What sort of Pearce comes back? You know, like they've been out for a while, man. Like, you know, Pearce got injured like round 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a long time, mate. Even though Pearce's a good player, he's not getting any younger. You know what I mean? He'd be training his ass off. He'd be doing everything right. But like, he's not that problem fixer up there. Something's up with all these other role players. They're
Clemmer's on
just
the
not
bench
doing
too.
They're just not doing their job, mate.
Clemmer's on the outer.
They're not doing their job. I know Clemmer's on the outer. He is. Yeah. The Warriors are struggling as well. This would be like most of these games this week are shit. It's doing my fucking head in, to be honest.
Dragons Raiders, the bookmakers, that's being played at bettingsite.com.au stadium as well, but the Wollongong version. The Dragons and the Raiders are considered. The Dragons are actually favourites in that game. I cannot understand. Wow. The Dragons were so bad last week.
How diabolical.
Just awful. I mean, look, full credit to Canterbury.
Did you full credit them?
I did. Full credit to the boys.
All
full
right.
credit to Ken.
Yeah. Just to Ken. That's
Just
it.
to Ken. And the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
But
both these teams are struggling. But the Raiders won last week, and the Dragons were like really bad. So they don't think that the home ground is going to give you a big advantage.
who's going to be less worse? That's what it's up to. The Tigers against the Storm. And big shout out to all of the West Tigers fans and the West Tigers teams. You are now my most hated team in the whole comp. I've tipped you to finish in the top 8. You ruined my bet last week. I can honestly say now I hope the West Tigers lose every game for the rest of the year by 60
Who did the Tigers
points.
play last week? Eels.
Yeah, and I was
Who
11
scored
and
a
a
try?
half.
Who scored a try against the Tigers?
11.
Mike Acevo. Remember that? It just topped off to fucking multi.
We can talk about your winning bet when it comes to our segment.
I love it.
We're
And
not
then I
talking about it.
FaceTimed you.
I know. And you were drinking whiskey out of a wine glass, William.
Yes, and that's how I roll.
That was a low point. So anyone who supports the West Tigers, don't tune into the show anymore because I hate you.
Yeah, it was a low point.
Parramatta against the Bulldogs, the Battle of the West. The Battle of the West.
I think I might go out to this game. I had dinner with Freddie Serraldo, who's the steward of that game for that club, been here for 35 years. Hazem El Majum at Utah. A few blokes out there. Like we it was so weird. We always try and get together when the Bulldogs win. We've seen each other like what, once?
Once in 6 years.
I said, why are we taking so much time to see each other? I'm like, they've won one game this year. I was like, oh fuck, that's right.
Why don't the Bulldogs have an Old Boys Day? Is it just the Knights that do that?
Yeah, pretty much.
The
mate.
Old Boys Day.
No, the Knights do some good things, mate,
Yeah.
with their retired players. They do. Anyone who's ever played for that game gets invited up to Old Boys Day. They get embraced by the crowd. They do a lap around the oval. It means a lot. It means a lot. There's been 1,000 players that play for the Bulldogs. They don't do that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I
reckon.
don't know why, because there's a lot of proud players, ex-players, current players that would love to do that kind of stuff, but they don't do it. But that's just fucking what they are.
You should run their marketing department. That'd be good. All right.
Do better than the one that's there now.
Yeah, even Broncos recruitment bloke.
Yeah,
out.
sack him.
And the bloke picking the
Sack
Channel 9
him.
games. Sack them all, Matt Parrish. Manly beat the Titans, although you've tipped the Titans.
Yeah,
You must know something I don't.
Yeah, I just think
Jamal Fogarty's body's going to get him over the line.
I just think the Queensland players that are going into Origin camp would want a big, big game. Big Tino, Dave Fafita, Fodawaker, Brimson. I'm not sure if Brimson's playing. Got some other players. Wallace. He's probably on the verge of getting picked, so he's probably going to have a really big game. So all these guys that are pushing for Origin or trying to keep their Origin spots, they've got a lot to play for. So therefore, that's why I picked them.
And the Titans do have a big forward pack.
They do, and they've got a talented team, a very talented team.
I would say they're full of big boys.
Willie's big boy.
All right, people. It was like talking about the level of playing of rugby league on the weekend, which sort of goes down a little bit during Origin.
A little bit.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be nice. It goes down a fair bit. It does suck. And I was watching, and I can honestly say, like, I watched a couple of games, but they were just boring the fuck out of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was killing me. We did the Monday game and just dragged on for so long. It was a bit torturous, actually. But my 3 votes, or should I go 1, 2, 3?
Go 1,
What do
2,
you
3.
reckon? My first vote is Jack Hetherington. I thought he was outstanding. And don't get it twisted because St. George aren't coming first and stuff like that. But their forward pack, they got some grown-ass men in that team, man. Tarek Sims and Vaughan and all these other blokes. They hit hard. You know what I mean? So Jack Hetherington was outstanding. I would have given him 2 votes, but he copped that little slap and fucking laid down.
Yeah, you lose points for that.
He lost 1 point.
Lose points for that.
He lost 1 point. I was like, fuck, Jack, don't do that. I get it, as I was saying before. One of the 2 points, he got it. You know what I mean? So, well done, Jack. But 2 points, kick out. What an animal. Man, they got beat by Cronulla. Cronulla's got a good team, man. Trust me, they've just been playing really, really shit. And I think they're really going to come. They're going to come out of it. I think they'll make the top 8. Kick out on that edge. Just because he's on the left edge doesn't mean he just stays on that edge. I love back rolls like that. He's on that left edge. He gets the lion's share of the ball. Boom, gets all the early ball. Gets the balls when he's hitting the hole. Everything like gets it all. But then he gets back in the middle, and he does those tough runs, mate. You know what I mean? When they're on that 20-meter line, and he goes to the open side. I love seeing that shit, and he does it all the time. 3 points, Toby Rudolph. He's got 2 first names, but I love him. Great kid, awesome bloke. But he plays hard, mate, and he does all the tough shit. He plays about 50 to 60 minutes in the middle. He's getting, I think it was about 14 carries and 160 metres.
He could actually be our first 2 first names in the list.
He's up there.
Liam Martin?
Liam Martin is number 1.
Has he got any points yet? I don't think he has. He's not big enough.
No, I think he's got 1 or 2,
Has
maybe.
he? Yeah. Well, otherwise,
Toby Rudolph. You know who would
Toby
win
Rudolph.
this? Andrew Ryan is the number 1 double first name. How can you have that? Or
We actually-
Alex Glenn.
Alex Glenn. He's got no points. We actually should have a best 2 first
Yeah,
names.
yeah. Mate, I'm a big double first name. And people now because a lot of people are called Mason. People go, because I used to hammer Andrew Ryan Bobcat, the great Bobcat. Andrew Ryan, you're a double. I used to call him double first. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, Mason started being like a traditional first name. I said, bullshit, you can't call
Doesn't
me double
count.
first. Doesn't
Doesn't
count,
count.
mate. You're Andrew, and then Ryan. Come on, man.
you know
Alex Glenn.
Do you know the greatest double namer of all time?
Who?
Mick Neal.
You reckon? Yeah, Mick Neal's a top 5. He's a top 5 candidate. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer on a lot of levels. Anyway, Toby Rudolph, I'm happy for that kid. He's a great kid, and he's got a big future. Yeah, he gets my 3 votes.
All right, you've been waiting to do this the whole show. William,
Yeah.
your bet got up.
My beer just spilled over.
You are officially the best punter.
I'm winning, aren't I?
Yep, you're winning. So the take has had some, I mean, we've had some highs and lows over the last 2 years. The lowest thing's probably been your win rate in terms of the bets that we've made. But all of a
How
sudden,
many have you won this year? Just one?
I've won 2 this year. The producers won none.
What happened, producer?
You've won 3. Harry's won 1 or 2. The producers won none, and the producers won none.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I think. Hang on. The producer's won none still. So
What about now?
he's still won nothing. Harry, welcome to the little laptop where all we can see is your wonderful head and the magnificent Sydney city behind you.
Yeah, beautiful night in the Harbour City. Willie Iain. It's time to celebrate. How about that win?
How much
Willie,
did he win?
$8.20. Well,
Yes.
50 times 8 was $410.
You do
in
the
back
math.
pocket.
He just did 420.
Yeah, I heard.
That's good. So we've now won very, very close a bee's dick from $3,000
Really? Already?
already. We're going half a year.
Getting there.
We're getting there though.
Getting there.
It's slowly building up. Do you know what? There's going to be a massive back end to the winning schedule. I
You
can
reckon?
Tell. Yep. And here I'm going to start it.
Do you reckon you'll win soon? You're a bit of a loser.
I think you'll win this week. There
West
you go.
Tigers. Thank
Clearing it.
you. Thank you.
Declaring it.
So what I have chosen this week is the Knights to cover the line, Manly to cover the line, and the Rabbitohs to beat the Broncos 13+. Now, traditionally, all my Broncos bets lose, but they're just so awful.
All of
that
us that loses every time we
Every time you
bet
bet
for
on a
the
Broncos
Broncos.
game.
Like, fuck, man.
Either way. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose.
Yeah.
Harold, what do you reckon?
Love this. Rabbitohs 13+. That just feels like a fait accompli. Just count that in the bank. The Knights get a few big names back in. So the 4.5 line for them looks good as well. The Warriors, who knows what's doing with them? They had the whole Marmalo thing. It's
Full
like
credit to
some week-
Ken.
Yeah. And then some weeks it's like, they moved Peter Hiku on earlier in the year as well. So it looks like they're just trying to get young guys in, doing the whole Brownie thing. So we'll see how that goes for them. But the Knights get, Pierce, Ponga, Clem, some big names back. Heimel Hunt's a big inclusion for them too. And then the Sea Eagles at the 7.5 line for $5.73 at play up. Ian, you're in the ballpark, I reckon.
What's Play Up? Is that a new... I've never heard of them. That's a new... well done. Well done to Play Up.
One of the online bookies, betting side has
Have you heard of it?
punched the numbers and said go to Play Up.
I'd never Play Up. Well,
Never.
never.
Of course not.
I'm going to
give me
leave
mine.
that right alone.
All right.
I am going to leave that alone.
Yeah, mine is Alex Johnson, anytime try scorer. Sharks plus 2.5. Panthers versus Roosters under 46.5. And the Sea Eagles minus 7.5.
Oh, Willie.
Mine again.
You get look.
I've been
I
studying the guide that much.
You're a red hot chance to go back to back here. I think Alex Johnson, anytime try scorer. He's scored something like 94 tries in 94 games on the left wing for South. Like
Wow.
he's automatic. So tick. I think the Sharks are a really good value at the plus 2.5 line. I think they're the upset pick for the weekend.
I reckon they win.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
I think
Sharks.
so too. Panthers, Roosters, unders. I think Penrith win that comfortably, but I think the Roosters will sort of hang around a lot longer than what they probably should, considering all the outs that they've had and the emotional week of Boyd Cordner and stuff retiring. The line's only 11.5 for that game, but I still think cold night out at Penrith.
Oh, it's miserable.
Big, wet ball. I think that game's going under.
Ooh, all right, good.
That's it. And remember, that's at bettingsite.com.au stadium too, out there at Penrith.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the recently renamed.
The
as of-
recently renamed.
I'm going to rename
There you
every stadium now.
Every stadium's that, except for
So-
1-300 Smiles. They can keep that one.
Look, you got your $8.20 bet up with Neds last week. Well, Neds have come back to you, Willie. $10.46 they're giving you for this one. So
Oh, they still love me, Neds.
Good on
I
you,
love
Neds.
you guys.
We love
they
Neds.
haven't cancelled your bets yet. So
That's
look, they're
good.
keen to come back.
So the producer has gone
Hasn't
back to
he just like, that looks like a person who just does not back himself.
He's given up.
He's given up on gambling, mate.
Do you know what? I'll tell you what it is with the producer. Sometimes you just lie awake staring at the cracks in the ceiling thinking, am I just not good enough? And that's where the producer's at now. He just sits there with nothing but self-doubt and failure.
He's doubting himself, and I'm sitting here doing 5 fucking multi-legs.
Yeah, it's smashing
it's
him.
called.
So he's gone to Flemington Race... Flemington Race 8, number 11, Rubsky. He's gone to the Rubskys.
Oh, geez, he's wearing the clock back.
Lemon Ruskies,
Is that on-
Ruskies, Rubasaki.
Is that-
What
is
are
that
we
on
calling
Play
this
Up?
one?
Where do you get the rubs
It's getting from play up.
He's going straight to play up. Now, so he used to be good at horses, but now he's not. So what do we get for this one?
He's a mad horses.
Okay, race 8, number 11 at Flemington, $6 at Sportsbet is the spot to go. So that's where you're looking to get the value.
I'm actually going to back it just in case he's.
It's like he doesn't want to win any money
because he's a miserable human being.
Well,
he's a beautiful human.
Clock is right twice a day, so you got to get one eventually.
That's very true. Now, Harold, you owe us something. What do you got? You're due,
Look,
son.
I've gone from 8 legs back to 4.
Yeah, that was sorry. How'd you go? Sorry, how did you go? I lost count of the fucking legs that you had last week.
He went out.
I did really good, but it was done on the Friday night, and basically everything else was right. I just got
Fuck
one
off,
leg.
really? One leg wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, that's fair effort. Hey, that's what. Wait, I just justify shit later. If I get everything else right and one's wrong, I still win somewhere.
Look,
hey, do you not agree?
It's true.
Yeah.
I didn't DM anyone on Instagram telling them that you cost me my multi.
Don't slide into DMs, mate. It's terrible.
All right, so I've gone the Rabbitohs. I reckon they'll cover the 17.5 start. I think they'll win and win big. I think the Panthers will cover the 11.5 start.
Ooh.
Just every game that they've been fully loaded at, they have just comfortably covered the line. So I'm banking on the fact that they've got all their guns back and, the show will roll on. And the Storm at the 23.5 start, I think they're absolutely going to smash the Tigers. So you can lock that in. They're only $1.08 head-to-head, so why not go the big win? And I think the Sea Eagles, straight up, they'll get the win on the Gold Coast on Sunday afternoon.
Good.
There we go.
I mean, I don't want to death ride the Tigers, but I hope their entire grandstand burns down.
Well, look, you and I both. But anyway, $9.39.
Ian Byrne, you're better than that.
So
I'm not better than that. All right, well, thank you. If we look at that, I'll just do that in my head. That's if we all get up and we're not going against each other for the first time, that's $1,200.
Last week we didn't go against each other.
no, funnily, all our bets are in play. Just
They're all
looking
in play.
now.
That's
All are
the
in
way I
play,
like
and we're
it.
not sabotaging.
Yep, so that's good news. That is good news. And it's good news for our friends at bettingsite.com.au because we're basically not winning any money. So,
No, it's good for
but
them.
I know you're supportive, and we're heading down to Bungendore in a few weeks to hand over we've already given them the money from last year, but, we're going down to Bungendore. And what we would love, Harry, is for us to get down to a new club at the end of the year and hand over some cash and help some clubs out. So, mate, we look forward to next week where you can talk about how wonderful our betting is.
Well, hopefully there's thousands in the kitty at the end of next week. So if you're going to bet right, you got to do it at betting site.
Nice.
That's true. That's a good segue. Well done, Harry. See you, mate.
See you guys.
Bet right at betting site and gamble responsibly, people.
Why don't you put your headphones on when you're gambling responsibly?
Fucking ears are sore. Sorry.
All right. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, it is fair enough.
All right. So we're going...
And I can still hear.
Because my voice is
Beautiful.
manly and carries.
Beautiful vanilla chocolate you are. You're a bit of vanilla chocolate.
I don't want to go into the tips too much because it's embarrassing again for the producer. He's just choked and he was well in front.
How are we going?
I'm in front.
What about what I got on the weekend? I reckon about fucking 3 or 4.
I don't think so. Am I? There you go. I mean, I'm good at
I'm
the
at
tippings.
65 people.
Yeah.
Only because I get forced into doing some dumb shit.
Well, we've gone the same, William. So you'll get 8
Well, this
from 8
This is what happened last week, and I went 4 against it.
So tell me who you've tipped this week.
I got the Rabbits. I think this week is very hard because there's a lot of average teams playing average teams. So I'm all over the shop. I asked a 10-year-old kid to do my bets today, actually. I honestly did. I was getting a haircut this morning. Shout out to Ahmed at, I forget what it's called, Barbarians now. We used to be called Hair Talks. I get a haircut there every Wednesday. I go train at E-Lab. I go get a haircut, and then I do my tips at the barber. And the 10-year-old was in there. I said, can you just tip all this shit apart from the Storm and Panthers? And then they come up with, so I got the Rabbits, Sharks, Panthers, Knights, Raiders, Storm, Eels, and Titans. So he's as smart as you.
That's 8 from 8.
Yeah.
I've seen this. I've seen the
as smart
future.
as a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Well, he's a smart 10-year-old, I'll tell you.
He's a genius level.
Yeah. Speaking of smart 10-year-olds, you know what I did yesterday? I did Einstein's riddle with my son. He's 11. Took a while.
What is it? What are you talking about?
It's too hard, but I'm just saying that as a general rule, children are smarter than adults. So it's probably safe to say this kid's going to bet 100%.
Huckleberry Finn's all good.
All right, so there was going to be a headline this week, but we're not going to do a headline. We're going to do... Actually, here's the headline. Willie Mason opens up next week entries for the club to win all of the money that we have now provided for them through bettingsite.com.au. So next week will be the first week where any clubs can start sending in...
Good videos. Why do you need the
Videos.
money? Why do you need the money? Need to be a good excuse, not because, we need the money. Everyone needs money.
Last year, Frankston had such an amazing video, and it's unfortunate that Melbourne goes into lockdown every 10 seconds because we'd love to get down to Frankston. We are going to Bungendore next week.
Yeah, just get
week
creative.
after.
Get creative, people.
Get
You
creative.
know what I mean? Just, don't just go, I need money because we don't have any. That's it. No, you're not going to get it.
No.
Be creative. So we obviously we hope to raise a lot of money this year. Last year was 10 grand. This year we're at 3. So might be doing 1 club this year, not 2.
Well, that's why it's even more important that the entries are good because if there's not as much money, it means we won't be able to spread it around. And I know that $5,000 goes a long way in sort of these junior clubs. So thanks to our great sponsors at bettingsite.com. This is one of the favourite things that we do with this show.
Yeah, I love doing this.
We're looking forward to going down to Bungendore in a few weeks. We'll get down to Frankston when we can. And so send in your videos and we will make a decision based around that towards the end of the year. But if you start the process now, it's probably going to, if you get in early, we'll like you.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
All right. We are going to do a Twitter game this week. We did a Twitter game last week. Can we not pick a shit game? Let's...
It's hard not to this week.
Actually, shout out to... I can't do the Saturday night. It's my dad's 80th birthday. Shout out to Johnny Rambo. He never listens to the show because he's been disappointed in me from a very, very early age. And he probably doesn't know how to use podcasts.
And he's old.
Because he's 80. But if he did, he'd love this show. But what are we going to do?
Maybe the Eels and Bulldogs on a Sunday. I might be at that game. All right. Well, so if I do it, live tweet, live tweet.
Double live tweet.
That's what I do.
Eels versus Bulldogs, that's what we're going to do.
You know how hard that is actually double live tweet?
I don't know what you're talking
My
about.
attention span's about 10 seconds. People know that.
Oh, Big Aaron from, he's our favourite, he's our biggest fan in New Zealand. He loves the Titans. He rated, reviewed and subscribed us on the weekend. And everyone else should do that. And then you get a shout out.
Ron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.